and then registering and logging of the user, isn't it? So same kind of thing we have applied over here as well. And I have made certain schemas of MongoDB those are the MongoDB schemas according to which I am going to provide certain requests to the server in order to update the status. Now we will walk through the schemas that I have made. So here is my post.js, then comes the user.js. So in the user, as all of us know, what all things do we store? We store the name of the user, the email of the user, password, role, and date of the user. Why are we storing the date? So that the date in which the user logged in or registered himself gets stored in the database. And here, as all of us know, that the enum defines what kind of roles can we provide for the role field inside the database. So there can be two types of rules. First is the user and second can be the admin. On the basis of which we have also made a middleware in order to protect certain routes. Some of the routes only the admin can access and some of the routes only the user can access. That is why the role is very essential when we define a schema for a particular database. Now moving on to the post.js. Now, what all fields does a post should have? A post should have a title, then comes the description of a post, followed by the status of the post, then the author of the post, then voters of the post, upvotes, and the time when it got created. Similarly, for the status also, we have provided certain values. First status, the open status. Second is the in progress status. Third is the completed, and fourth is the voting status. So these are the couple of schema on which we perform the operations. And coming on to the controller, as we have already dealt with the register user and login user, followed by hashing the password and generating the token, I have just provided the codes over here. So we require what? We require the JWT secret key in order to virtually sign a token. So these all things falls under the authentication. Now we will move straight to our admin controller. And here we will explore what all API endpoints can be admin access. And before moving to that particular functionalities, which we are going to write in the admin controller, I just want to show the middleware, that is the auth.js. As I have shown, this auth.js is used in order to verify the token, where we are doing nothing, but we are doing the verification of the token, providing the token itself and the JWT secret key. And then after verifying the token, what we are going to do? We are going to check if the user who is trying to access a particular endpoint is actually an admin. So here we are trying to protect our endpoint on the basis of the role provided by the user via the token, because the token itself is containing the role of the user and all the data related to that particular user. Now we will move to our admin controller.js. So in order to work inside this admin controller, we need the couple of models that we have just seen. That is the post.js followed by the user.js. So here I will create a variable in order to store those models. Post is for the post.js. Here we will use the require method, and inside this I am going to define the file. From the model, take the post. And here second comes the user is equal to same thing, that is require. Here we will provide from the models, take user. So now we have successfully imported those two models. Now moving on to read all the users present inside the database. So for that, I will write exports dot. Now here comes the function name. So I will provide the name of the function as get all users. To this function, I am going to provide an asynchronous arrow function. And here, as all of us know, we will take request and response as the parameters as usual. And inside the function, what are we going to write? First, we will begin with our try catch block. And inside the try block, describe a variable users. And which built-in method are we going to read all the users? we are going to use the find method in order to read all the users which are present inside our database. So here, starting with the await keyword, I will use the user database dot followed by the find built-in method. And here from that data which has been fetched, I am going to select nothing but the password. So here I will provide password. And then after reading the data, I will provide JSON. In the JSON format, I will provide all the users. So what do we infer from here? The server will provide all the data except the password. That is why we have written dot select password, so that whenever we get response from the server, the password field will be excluded. So let me write it down for you people. Excluding the password and returning rest of the data. All right. Now moving on to the catch block. So if any error occurs, then in the console we are going to get that error. So here I will write console.log, or we can provide console.error, and inside this I will provide the error.message, or we can also change it to err. Yeah, that's. And then we can provide a response with a status code of 500. 500 followed by the JSON message that there is a server error. And here I can place message which should display server error. Now moving on to the next method. This method is used in order to update the status of the post. So here what I will do, here I will provide exports followed by the function name, that is update post status is equal to, again initializing with an asynchronous arrow function. Again taking the parameters and beginning with the try catch block. Inside the try block, I will declare a variable post. To this, what I will do, and before declaring this variable, what I will do is, here I will provide const status. So here what I am actually trying to do, I am trying to destructure the status that we are going to provide inside the body. So for that, I will provide request dot body. And then inside the try block, I will provide await. And then I will use the post schema followed by find by ID and update. All right. So here what do we provide inside this? Whenever we are providing the ID, we will write request dot, inside the parameters we declare the ID. That is why we will provide params dot ID, followed by, we are also taking request dot body, and then new will be true. So these are things we require while we are updating our data. Now, moving on to the next thing. What is this? What is the next condition? That is, if the post with that particular ID, which is provided by the user while testing, does not exist in the database, which means if not post, then what will happen? Then it is going to return us with a status code of 404. Status 404 followed by a JSON message and this will say post not found. And what if the post is found? Then what we are going to do, we are going to update the status post dot status is equal to whichever status the user provides in the body that will be assigned to it. And then what we will do, we are going to finally save the updated status inside our database. So for that, we will write post dot save. So now we have successfully stored the post in the database. And after storing it, we are going to provide the updated data to the user as a response. That is why we will write post inside the JSON method. And then the same thing will be shown if any error occurs inside while executing the request. All right. So now what we have done, we have got all the users and then we have also updated their post. Now what I am trying to do, I am trying to update the roles of the user. So for that, I will write export dot followed by the name of the function, that is update user role, is equal to, here I will provide an asynchronous function, request and response. And instead of export, we have to write exports. Yeah. So here again provides const. Here we will take the role. And from where are we going to take it? We are going to take it from the body. That is why we will write request.body followed by a try catch block. Inside the try block, we are going to perform the same things. First, we are going to create a variable user. And from the user, we are going to take await user dot find by ID and update. And inside this, we'll write the same thing, that is request dot params dot ID followed by the request dot body. Then comes the new. And now, what is the next thing? The same, that is if not user, then provide user is not found. Copy it and then paste it over here. And here provide user not found. And what if the user is found? Then the role of the user will get updated. So for that, we will write user dot role is equal to whichever role it will be provided by uh, the user in the body, and then await then user dot save in order to save the new data, followed by providing the response in a JSON format. Which response will it provide? It will provide the updated user as the response. Copy it and then paste it. So by now, we have created all the functions that we require for the admin. Now our auth controller is also ready for providing the register and login for the user. Then comes the board controller. And inside the board controller, what are we trying to do? We will try to create the post for the first time. So here I will require the post schema. So here I will write const post is equal to require, mention the file path as well, then the post. Here write the same thing, that is exports dot followed by the function name create post is equal to asynchronous function request and response. Here provide the two things. First, I will provide the title of the post followed by the description of the post. Let me check if they are present inside the post. Yeah, title and description are there. So where am I going to take it? I am going to take it from the body itself as the request. And now beginning with the try catch block. Inside the try block, as all of you know, in order to create a new post, we write the new keyword. So for that, I will create a variable at first, that is new post is equal to a new keyword and then the name of the schema, that is post. And inside this, we will provide the title followed by the description, and then we will take the author of this particular post. And where are we going to get the author from? We are going to get the author from the user schema, and we will assign the ID of that particular user to the author. Is there any doubt till here? All right. Now we will do what? We are going to create one more variable, that is const post is equal to, here I will provide await followed by new post dot save. Okay, there should be some kind of error. All right, so let's skip the author for now. And after saving it, we are going to provide the response of the new post that has been created. And we will copy paste the same error message from the previous file. All right. Now what we are going to do, we are going to provide the change in the status of the post, that is for providing the vote for a particular post. Then comes the author, and let's try to assign the value of user ID. That's it. Then comes a new method, that is exports dot upvote post is equal to, trying with the same thing, an asynchronous arrow function, and here we will paste it. Now what we will do, we will remove this entire thing. And from the try block also we are going to remove it, and then from the cache block as well. So here, what are we going to provide? We are going to provide the post ID as well as the user ID. So for that, I will write post ID is equal to request dot params dot ID. We have to provide the ID of the post. Along with that, we have to provide the ID of the user in the parameters of the URL itself. Const user ID is equal to request dot user dot ID. That's it. And now moving on to the try block. Here we are going to create a variable, and then we are going to find that particular post with that particular ID which we have provided in the URL. So here we will write let post is equal to await post dot, here we will write find by ID. And inside this, we are going to pass the post ID. So you can directly write request.params.id over here, or else you can also store it in a variable and pass that variable inside the find by ID method. And then placing the same condition, that is if not post, then return the error status of 404 as a response, and then followed by a JSON message that is the post not found. And if the post is found, then try to do what? We are going to check that whether that particular post contains the user ID. So here, why are we checking the user ID if it is present inside the post? Because if the user ID is present, then we will get a confirmation that that particular user has already provided his vote in that particular post. So here what we will write? We are going to declare a variable, say for example, already voted is equal to, here we will take post dot voters dot, here we are going to use the includes method. Why we are going to use the includes method? Because all the user ID, where are we storing it? We are storing it in the form of the array, and the name of the array is voters. So includes method is the built-in method of an array. That is why we are using post dot voters, and then we are checking whether that particular array includes the user ID. And then we are placing one more condition. What if the user has already voted? So here we will provide if already voted. Then what will happen? Here we are going to write post dot voters dot, we will use the pull method in order to take the ID of the user. So here we will write user ID. And then what we will do? We are going to decrease the value of the upvote in order to lessen the number of votes for that particular post, because one user has already casted his vote for that particular post. So now what we are going to do? We will write post dot upvotes minus is equal to 1. And then after decreasing the value of the votes, we will provide await followed by post dot save in order to save the updated data, and then return response in a JSON format, which will provide a message which will say vote removed. And then it will provide the post object in the response. Or else, what will happen? It will try to push the user ID. And if it is putting the user ID, that means what? The number of votes for that particular post is increasing. So here, what we are going to do, instead of writing -1, we are going to write +1. The number of votes means what? The increasing number of user ID only. In WhatsApp also, when we provide a poll inside a group, what happens? The number of user for a particular option increases, the poll bar also gets increases. The same thing is happening over here as well. For the upvotes, if the user ID is decreasing, then the number of votes will get reduced. And if the user is trying to, if we add the user ID for a particular post, then the number of votes will automatically increase. So here we will provide post dot voters dot push, and here we will push the one more user ID for that particular post, and then we will provide post dot upvotes plus is equal to 1, which will get increased by 1. and then save the updated data. Followed by a JSON message, and this JSON message will say vote added. And then provide the post object itself in the response, and copy the same error message from the catch block, and then paste it inside this catch block. So now we are done with our board controller.js. Now what are the rest things to do? The rest of the thing to do is providing the routes to these particular functions that we have just written. So now we will move to the routes. Coming on to the admin routes. So here, what are the things that we are required to do? We are required to import the controllers as well as the middlewares, so that only the admin or the user can access the particular endpoints which are made for them. So here I will import const express. Now, why am I importing express? To use the router middleware present inside the express. So here I will use the require method followed by the express dependency, and then const router is equal to express dot router, followed by, here we are going to take the admin controller, since we are going to provide the routes for the methods mentioned inside the admin controller. So here I will write admin controller variable. Inside this, store all the methods importing from the admin controller. Now comes the middlewares. It is const protect, and this protect will take require from the middleware, take the auth.js. Then we are going to check if the user is an admin. So for that we will write is admin is equal to require from the middleware opt for the is admin. Done till this part. Now we will just set the routes. So here I will write router dot. So in order to get all the users, which HTTP method we are going to use? We are going to use the get method, followed by the first parameter, that is nothing but the API endpoint, that is users, followed by the middlewares that I'm going to write over here, protect in order to verify the token, and is admin in order to check whether the user is an admin, followed by admin controller dot get all users method. Now, another method in order to update a post status. So here I will provide router dot. Which method do we use to update? We use the put method. So here I will provide put, and then the API endpoints are something like posts followed by the ID of the user. Okay, instead of dot we are going to provide backslash, and after the ID we will provide the status, and then provide the same middlewares for here as well, and then is admin followed by admin controller dot update post status. Then comes the update user row. So for this also we are going to use the put method. So here for users we will write users followed by the ID and then the role. protect is admin and admin controller dot update user role. Now finally export the routers. Module.exports is equal to router. That's it. So by now we have defined the admin routes. Now moving on to our board routes, because we have already defined the routes for register and logging in. Then comes the board route. Inside the board route, we are going to extract the same things, express and the express middleware. These two lines we'll copy paste. And then we are going to import the board controller. Is equal to require. Here we are going to provide the path, and then we'll here this time we are just going to take the single middleware, that is the protect middleware, in order to verify the token. Here require, then I will provide the path, provide the auth only. That's it. Now there are just two methods over here, router dot post, in order to create a new post. So here I will provide an empty endpoint followed by the middleware, that is protect, and then board controller dot create post. And then in order to update a data, use the put method followed by the endpoint, which will say vote, and then the ID of the particular vote that we want to provide the vote or decrease the vote. So here I will provide ID followed by the protect middleware, and then board controller dot upvote post, and export the router over here as well. Exports is equal to router. Now we will save it finally. Moving on to our entry point, that is the server.js. Import all the things that we have mentioned till now, or whichever routes we have mentioned, that is the auth routes, the board routes, as well as the admin routes, and try to access each of the routes that we have, for which we have written the functions. So here const express is equal to require. Here we will take express followed by, the first thing that we have to do is to connect the database. So where is the code that we have written in order to connect the database? We have written it inside the db.js. So we will import that as well, providing the variable name connect db is equal to import it from the config, take the db.js. And then since we have stored our entire data for the Mongo URI, the JWT secret key inside this .env file, we require the .env dependency as well. So here I will write const .env is equal to require .env followed by the CORS. As of now, since we are not building the front end, we do not require the CORS over here. Now what we will do? We will use the config method of the .env dependency in order to read all the data which are present inside our .env file. And then we will successfully connect our MongoDB database with the Node.js, and then assign the express to a variable, And then we are going to use the JSON middleware of the Express. That is nothing but a body parser. And what is the work of the body parser? In order to convert all the data into JSON format, let it be the request data or the response data. So here I will provide app.use. Inside this I will use express.json. After that, I will take all the routes. All right. So here I will provide const admin routes is equal to import all the routes that is required. Here provide the file path. From the routes, take the admin routes. And then coming on to the auth routes is equal to require from the routes, take the auth routes. And then finally we will take the board route. Is equal to take the method again, write the file path again. All right. So now what is the work left to do? The work is assigning each of the routes for each of assigning routes for each of the routes that we have declared over here. So for admin routes, I will declare the route as API or API admin. So here I will write app.use. Inside this, I will provide API. I will use auth, and then I will provide the auth routes. After that, I will write app.use. Inside this, I will provide API and then admin. And then I will provide the admin routes. After that, I will provide the route for the board routes. And then I will finally place the board route as the second parameter. Now, finally, I will declare the port and then I will call I will declare the listen method. So here I will provide const port, which I will take from the .env file. For that, I have to write process.env.port followed by app.listen. The first parameter is going to be my port number and then followed by an arrow function which will provide me inside the a message inside the console. With the help of, we'll just write log, and this will say server is running on HTTP localhost followed by the inside the dollar. We'll provide a dollar sign along with the curly braces. Here we will provide port. That's it. Save this entire thing. Go to the terminal. Provide the new terminal. And instead of that, we can also open it in the integrated terminal. And here I can write nodemon server.js. Now the server is running and the MongoDB also has successfully connected. Is there any doubt till here? Any kind of doubt in the in the code?
No, ma.
So now, what is your work to do? Your work is to generate the JWT token by registering and logging yourself inside the after running the server, just open the Postman, and as you people have formerly done, try to register and log in yourself, and then fetch the JWT secret key. I will share the entire code to you people in the group itself, and then your work is to test the API endpoints by yourself. And if you people come across any kind of error, then just provide me your error in the next class. Am I clear with this? You are able to generate the JWT token, right? All right. So do this,
Okay, ma'am.
and then I will share you the entire code by today itself. All right. Bye bye, everyone.